It's the birthplace of the Renaissance, an explosion of art, culture and commerce that defined Europe. Visitors have been drawing inspiration here for centuries, from the works of Da Vinci and Michelangelo to the father of political backstabbing, Machiavelli. Enter Theresa May. The embattled British Prime Minister arrived hoping for a political renaissance of her own. Words to help soothe divisions within her party and end 3 months of stalled Brexit negotiations with the EU.
We start from an unprecedented position in terms of our current relationship with the EU. We remember we're coming out, but that enables us to build a different sort of partnership for the future.
The speech called for a new, creative, economic, legal and security arrangements with the EU. She also proposed a 2-year transition period after the Brexit deadline in March 2019 to help ease Britain's departure.
It is clear that what would be most helpful to people and businesses on both sides who want this process to be smooth and orderly is for us to agree the detailed arrangements for this implementation period as early as possible.
The UK's also promised to fulfil its financial obligations to Europe, avoiding any shortfalls in the bloc's finances. But for those who voted for Brexit, the plan means 2 more years of EU control. An iconic location for an important address, but the real audience was in Brussels. EU officials praised her constructive spirit, but called for greater clarity.
Theresa May is here in Florence trying to build bridges between the EU and the UK. She's trying to say that even after Brexit, the UK shares a common cultural and historic identity with great cities like Florence and the rest of the continent. But the view from Brussels is that she is simply demanding the best of both worlds, and that can't be allowed to happen.
These protesters, many of them British citizens living in Italy, believe Brexit is a big mistake.
The British people were never informed of all the reasons about the whole issue. And I think now, as the world gets smaller, it becomes more and more important for us to be together and be unified.
I think it's going to be very, very difficult for the UK going forward, and I think it will be a decision that we will regret in the future.
Thank you.
Theresa May wants to reframe Brexit as a historic moment, focusing not on the differences between nations, but on political vision. But with questions still remaining about the UK's border with the Republic of Ireland, the status of EU nationals living in the UK, and exactly how much Britain will pay to leave the EU, is a vision many in Europe are still struggling to share. Niamh Barker, Al Jazeera, Florence.